Yeah, so again, Rob Stannard from Wings Over the Rockies. Do you want to just tell us a little bit about what you do over there?
Absolutely. I'm the Director of Education for the Wings Over the Rockies Air and Space Museum. We occupy what was once the Lowry Air Force Base in Hangar 1. Museum, lots of things going on. Part of our mission is to educate and inspire. We have a variety of programs for young people. We start at the most basic level, as if you'll excuse we have birthday parties with an aviation theme. But we have summer camps with lots of interesting activities related to science and technology. And we have a learning center associated with a statewide online school called Wings Aerospace Academy.
Very cool. So we can take field trips and
We take field trips. All of our students go on a glider ride. Gliding and soaring being the purest form of flight. We have an ulterior motive. It's about keeping students engaged. It's not a video game, it's really flying. We also have a variety of projects. We teach hands-on skills, everything from swinging a hammer or turning a wrench, but working our way upwards till they're finally able to acquire the skills to work on aircraft.
So since it's right in front of you right now, and
Right.
I'm sure some viewers are wondering, can you tell us a little bit about this airplane that we talked about?
I would be happy to. We first have our students build a kit for a radio-controlled aircraft, and the radio-controlled aircraft system is very well known, a lot of off-the-shelf components. And first thing they do is they carefully build a radio-controlled aircraft from a kit. They all look the same, but they're taught the mathematics and the science of flight. They're taught how to program and run the controller. The second phase, after they have been through all that, and I should say it's project-based, they're not done till it flies. The second phase is where they have to design, first on a large piece of paper, an aircraft from scratch. There are large sheets of this foam, and they have to design the wingspan, the body, where the engine goes, the center of gravity, where the battery, and all those things, and all the controls. And they have to put it together, and it has a simple test. They're done when it flies. And last year, every single plane flew. Now, sometimes they flew the first time after they're designed, sometimes on the 8th or 9th. I particularly like this. This hangs in one of our classrooms, but they are allowed to design their own. You'll see that some little brother or sister lost a toy for the landing gear, but this plane flew. Not on the first time, but when they don't fly, they're brought back in, and an instructor, they look at their mistakes, they make changes. If it crashes, they repair it. And so we're able to get a lot of math, science, and hands-on skills into the RC aircraft build. It would be a shame just to snap it together and go. We want the skills, we want the project base. They work as teams to build these, which is something parents often ask us about, is teach my child to work with other students.
So this plane wasn't a kit. This was totally designed, built by students in your school.
Correct.
That is amazing.
what is the age level?
This was built by a 7th grader,
Wow.
but we do 5th through 9th grade.
Okay.
And if I may go on, our 9th graders this year are working on drones. And of course, you can just buy a drone at Best Buy. We designed, working with people who do that all the time, we designed a drone kit that deconstructed. They have to learn soldering, they have to learn gluing, they have to learn winding, they have to program the chip in the drone themselves, that type of thing. And so, again, trying to combine mathematics and science and keeping students engaged. They don't. The most fun you do is when you're having fun. The best learning you do is when you're having fun. And you see a group of otherwise noisy students around something like this, and they're rapt with attention. They're completely engaged. And we like to see that.
That's so great. How long does a project like this take?
About 5 or 6 weeks.
Oh, wow. That's not as long as I thought. I was thinking
Yeah,
it would
right.
be a year-long project
thinking
or a
that too.
semester-long project. Wow.
As they get older, the projects get longer and longer, but there is an attention span that grows year after year. Our
course.
drone project is semester long, and then we will have projects that are year long by the time our students are well into high school.
What types of ideas do you guys have for when your students are well into high school?
We actually are building, we're actually wrenching on aircraft. There's a community here in Colorado, many of them are associated with the museum, that restore old aircraft, and they're learning and starting with basic skills, but we will have a large rotary engine being torn apart in the museum by our students and then put back together. Our program has two goals: to put a student into an aerospace engineering program or to put them in an airframe and power plant mechanic program. Some people want to be smart and want to fix the engine. Some people want to design the engine.
Right.
Both take a lot of technical knowledge.
So those are the careers that you're preparing your students for eventually.
A narrow niche, but
yes.
Again, inspired by flight.
Yeah.
And all the projects are then flight connected, I would guess. It's all about
almost
building up
all.
to that point.
We will occasionally take a bird walk. We have a lot of visitors at the museum, guest speakers. We had General Chilton, who was twice commander of the space shuttle, describe to our students in detail what it was like to grab an errant satellite, pull it in, repair it, and put it back into orbit. And so we were always looking to engage a lot of different, but it's almost always aerospace. We had a display from Digital Globe, a good Colorado company, last year. Again, our students became engaged in mathematics because there is an awful lot of mathematics in communicating with satellites, encryption and rendezvous and all those things. And so, again, it's the engagement, it's keeping them interested and teaching them more math and science.
And also the application is what is so fantastic to me, that you are able to teach the same standards and the same mathematics and the same science that everyone else is learning,
stick with,
but it's applied to a field.
Absolutely. And all of us who have taught know that you worry starting in the upper elementary school level that maybe there's a little shoulder shrug and eye roll because why am I learning this? We have an answer, at least in this case. Why am I learning math? Why am I learning physics?
There's always an answer in
Yes.
this case, yeah.
Right, it makes the learning meaningful in a way that we do projects at CLA, but we do it across the whole curriculum.
Right.
So they're doing projects in every type of a class. So like currently I'm supporting a Shark Tank class. So all students design businesses, and then they're using their algebra skills to project profits for that business and design cost tables for that business. And it's a similar thing. I heard you talking about the taking the airplane out, letting it try to fly. If it doesn't work, you bring it back and you redesign. It's different when it's a business, but it's the same concept that they will try something.
Exactly.
They'll present to their classmates, and their classmates will say, in a nice way, have you thought about this, or does this really work? They'll try to make their product, and it won't really come out the way they thought. And it's kind of back to the drawing board, and I see that oftentimes as the best learning.
Right. The process of learning to defend your ideas is a healthy one, and sometimes a new one for our students.
Yeah.
What's the, because I imagine it can be probably a little frustrating if you're on your 6th or 7th try and it's still not flying. Is your problem-solving process, is it a lot like the students go back in their group and try to figure it out? Or are they, I mean, obviously you guys consult them and
they go back in their
out?
group, but we sort of escalate as far as how close we hover as instructors. We wouldn't let someone go on too long. We drop more and more powerful hints as you go. But again, I don't think anybody got past 6 or 7.
Okay.
But I believe the satisfaction, this is a heavy aircraft, and once it lumbered into flight, they were just as proud as the ones who did it the first time, I think.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. Do you mind if I see how heavy
please.
it is? Oh, wow. It does have some pretty good weight. So how do students decide or find out about the school, decide they want to go there? Is it an application process or?
Well, we can be reached on the website for Wings of the Rockies Air and Space. And again, we are a learning center associated with a statewide online school, but we often get recruits from people walking through the museum. We're looking for they're all very smart kids, but they're looking at the kids that are inspired, that kind of happy geekiness about, I love airplanes, and I use the word geek because their headmaster is a geek. But we're looking for that type of knowledge. They're all really smart, but to be inspired by something.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question related to my students a little bit along those
Absolutely.
lines? So I teach students who sometimes don't have that enthusiasm at the beginning of a project, but the goal is to have the project get them into it. Do you think that a student that didn't know that they were interested in this stuff coming into a program like yours would do you see students kind of get excited as they go through the program?
Yes, we get surprised. I mean, no one technique works on all students, but we're often surprised at the quieter student or the student that would tell you proudly that I don't get math or I don't like math. If you put it in context, they begin inspired and they begin leading.
Yeah.
And so it's a good measure as instructors that we can see that they become engaged.
Yeah, we see similar things. I think we're still in the process of figuring it out,
Yeah,
but we're seeing some of that
It's
success.
sort of a perpetual mystery, but you know what engagement looks like.
Right, right.
And the things that we're passionate about, even as adults, we enjoy learning about, and so we kind of hug that goal over and over again. But our kids love flight, and they know the history of flight, and they know, when I was their age, it was, I don't know, Cubs versus Yankees or Ford versus Chevy. My students have heated but friendly debates about SpaceX versus United Launch Alliance.
Wow.
They debate who's best in the business community, who does the best job of launching satellites.
Wow.
I like that.
That's really
That they're engaged. I mean, I didn't make them learn about it. They did it on their own.
right.
That's very, very cool. Very, very cool. Well,
Yeah.
thank you. Thank
My
you so
pleasure.
much for
My
joining
pleasure.
us. The information is on the screen if you are interested in finding out more about the school or the museum, the Wings
Yes.
Over the Rockies. And that was wonderful information you shared with us.
Yeah, thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much.
My pleasure. Thank you for
I don't
having
want to
me
get
on.
a
Appreciate
Yeah.
it.
kid now.
Definitely. All right, well, we're going to take a little bit of a break, so just check out all of the interesting information we have for you.